So it's a really good question. And honestly, I've had Audiobook, on my list of things to do for years and years. I mean, I wrote this book the first book over 11 years ago. And even at that time, I was like, okay, audiobook is something I need to do. And, movie after that, those types of things. And in my mind, I wanted a narrator. I wanted several voice actors. I wanted people reading multiple parts. I wanted music and sound effects, as close to a movie as possible without being an actual movie. And there are audiobooks out there like that. And that's the type of audiobook that I wanted to have. And over the years, I've had no shortage of friends that, would say to me, hey, I'll read a character for you and I'll do those things. But I don't think anyone really understands the time commitment that is necessary to be able to really go through and do all of that. It's a lot. It's not just you come in and do it one time. It's retake, retake, retake. Oh, can you come back next week and do some more? And when it's a really important character, like a main character, you also may need them for the follow-up books, or you're going to be able to get that same person. So there's a lot of that you have to think about as you go through it. But that commitment is really kind of big. And I'm blessed to be able to understand the audio portions of that, and how to do all of those pieces of it. I use Pro Tools. I use Microsoft tools as well, but I use Pro Tools. I use microphones. I have instruments, all that kind of stuff. So I can do all those post-production types of things myself, but really just getting the time to have someone actually come in and read things, or me even read pieces myself, that's a big, big commitment. So it's been delayed for a very, very long time. And the one thing that I just didn't have in this whole process was, well, I guess two things. One was enough time to be able to get it done and to produce it myself. And the second thing was really just a budget to have someone else produce it, right? Or to maybe pay an actor, or to have a studio even do professional things. And I don't know that most authors who are doing, self-publishing and things like that would have budgets to go along with that, right? I don't know that anyone would have that. But when the AI came along, when I discovered, hey, oh my gosh, I can do this with AI, that opened up so many doors. And this was huge for me in how I wanted to get things done. So I ended up looking through several online AI services. I ended up going with 11 Labs. And by the way, 11 Labs is not paying me anything. They don't even know who I am, other than the fact that I have an account there. So it'd be really cool if they pay me, but they're not. However, I went with that one because it allowed me to do projects. And when I looked at it, I understood it and what they were trying to achieve with that. And it fit into what I was trying to do. I could upload my gigantic Microsoft Word file, and all those words are in there. I separated it all out, and I could go in and choose what AI actor was going to say which thing in there, which is what I needed to be able to do. And I'm not going to say that was super easy, but I'll say it was easy enough, and it's not rocket science. So anyone should be able to do it. And I think that's important. And I actually am going to make a video series on just that, to help other authors who are going to try to do this, to be able to understand all the things that I learned, like, doing retakes, or picking out the right narrator at the beginning, things like that, finding all your voices ahead of time, all that kind of stuff. And I'll show kind of what I learned. But this was huge for me, because I was able to go through and do this in my own time and take the time that I needed to be able to do it. And, there were some hard parts in there, like, getting a AI actor to be able to say something the way that you want it read. You have it in your mind a certain way, and you're looking for them to say it just like that. You'd be shocked how often it interprets it correctly and just does it the right way. I was amazed. But there are also times when it doesn't, and you spend a little time doing retakes, retake, which is basically clicking a button to get it to say it again and again and again. And then trying to trick it to say things. So there's a lot there. But like I said, I'll do a video on that separate from this. But it took me, and just so you can understand how long it took and what the process was, it took me about 4 months of nights and weekends to be able to go through and finish out book 1 of the Prophecy of the Seventh Elizabeth. I had about 90,000 words in that first book that had to be read by me, AI, and so forth. And I was able to do that in that amount of time, which was fantastic because I would not have been able to achieve that using regular, using people or friends to come in and do that stuff for me. So that's significant. The next book is, or book 2 is like 130,000 words. And that's going to be even faster because, like I said, I've learned a lot of tips and tricks on how to get through it a lot quicker. So there was a big learning curve in those first 4 months of what I did. So that's all cool. Once I had all that done, I basically exported all those files, which was super easy to do again, right? And then I imported all those into Pro Tools, which is a tool that I was already familiar with. And I went and I laid down background music for certain things, sound effects for certain things, changed voices with like, if I wanted like a deep evil voice or something like that, I put effects on that voice to make it do what I wanted to do. And that was really nice. Also, perfecting timing inside of there as well was something that I did. I didn't have to do any of that because I will honestly say that it read really, really well without me going in and adding background music, without me going in and adding effects and things like that. It sounded great already. But there was something that I was able to do, which I thought was significant. And this just give you an idea of what's possible, right? So I have a pair of twins and they have a sister, and actually, well, two siblings. And I was able to, a lot of times in the book, I would say they all said this, or they all replied at the same time. Like they all said, wow, or they all did something like that. And I was able to go in and have the AI read that multiple times. You don't read it multiple times in a book when it's just someone reading it out. You just say, and all of them said, wow. But here I could say, all of them say, wow. And I have each of those voices actually say, wow. And then in post-production, I put those on top of each other, layer those on top of each other. And it sounds to me like multiple people are saying that, which is really cool because you're now understanding a lot more of the way that I want it in your brain versus just reading it. And I think that's really kind of a cool thing to be able to do. So I took it into Pro Tools. I did all the post-production for that and just came out with the most amazing version, which I'm super happy with the end results that I have. I'm just amazed at what it does. Overall, I have about 40 AI voices in the final product because if you know anything about my books, you know I have a lot of characters, a lot of main characters, and a lot of extra people doing weird things. It was nice to be able to have that. And again, I don't think I would have been able to achieve that in any other way. I don't think that I would have been able to bring in a cast of 40 people or even less people who could read multiple voices. I can't see how I would have been able to do that. So this was huge for me to be able to leverage the AI to be able to do that. And like I said, I'm super happy with the end results. The Prophecy of the Seventh Elizabeth, The Battle Between Light and Dark, book 1, I can say now that it's ready for Audible and hope to have that up there before like Thanksgiving. So absolutely amazing. If you have any questions about that, certainly reach out. I'm happy to answer questions, give tips and things like that.